What is up, Hackstab slash it's your boy Hacky? And I gave Justin some criteria. I said, you know what? We just did weapons in your next movie. I want you to find me a movie that has some form of tie-in to weapons. And Justin, before we stop messing around, I want you to tell me what you picked.
I picked 2021's Antlers, and the tie-in we found is, I believe, in Weapons, the cop's ex-wife is actually a big part of this movie. I forget the actress's name, but she's in Antlers, and it was a good excuse to watch Antlers because I remember when this came out, there was a little bit of hype around it. It looked really cool. I was very excited because I didn't know much about it at all. I just know creepy woods, some kind of antler thing. That's all I knew. So I was very, very excited to watch this movie. How about you?
I had zero expectation going into this. I never watched the trailer. It like you said, it did have hype behind it, but this felt like a movie that I'd probably never watch unless we did it for the podcast or unless someone like aggressively recommended that I watch it.
Yeah.
And the only thing I was looking forward to watching in this movie was Kerry Russell because I think she's the bee's knees. She's pretty good looking.
It drove me crazy. I didn't realize who that was the whole entire time until after when I saw the name. And the thing that drove me crazy, I'm like, why do I know this person? But before we jump into this, I do want to say, I do remember when this movie came out and the hype was crazy around at the start. But then I remember it died out. Like, I just remember it being like, Antlers is gonna be so crazy and stuff. And then I never heard anything about it. So I don't know if that should have been a red flag or not. I just remember like people being very excited to see this, and then I just never heard another word about it at all, and I've never heard anyone mention it. So I don't know if that's a red flag or not. I guess we can jump into it.
All right, well let's grab a bull by its horns or a deer by its antlers, and I just want to start this podcast off by politely saying, "Fuck these two dudes, especially the dad." Note to dipshit: when you're a cook in a train yard meth lab, there is no such thing as a bring your kid to work day. All right. If you ask me, this opening scene gave these two pickle slipping slappers exactly what they fucking deserved.
Also,
It was
before you keep
also
going,
intense as fuck.
yeah, also before you keep going, I was like, I saw this kid with stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this is the hard-working dad. Before I kind of realized what was happening, I'm like, oh
Yeah, I figured
man,
he was in the train yard and all that stuff, and I was
yeah.
like feeling it. And then when it got like a face shot, I was like, oh no, he does a lot of drugs.
Yeah, because this was like, oh, like an at first I'm like, is this a mine? I see tunnels, abandoned railroad. It is dark, creepy. I'm like, all right, this must be some tough, like, honest work.
Immediately, our next set of scenes makes me kind of feel for this kid Lucas from the opening scenes. This kid clearly gets picked on a lot by this soulless ginger asshat who's constantly trying to face fuck his sock monkey. However, something's not right with Lucas because on his way home, right after I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? I feel for this kid. He bludgeons a fucking skunk to death. I mean,
But
if
yes,
rocks don't kill you, the smell will, right, Justin?
oh my God. And honestly, and not to interrupt you again, but let's just like that first scene too. Let's not skip over the part where all of a sudden the kid says he hears something, and then he's kind of like the dad's like, "Give me one more minute," and then we see the dad and his coworker. They hear something that sounds like an animal. This thing is screeching, and they look like they are viciously attacked. And then we see the kid enter the building, mine, and he's like, "Daddy?" And then we get the opening scene. So I just wanted to mention something goes terribly wrong before we get the all of a sudden title track Antlers, and then like you said, we meet this kid Lucas. So sorry to keep going.
Oh no, it's fine. I didn't touch on like the opening like kill scene because it
Yep.
happened so fast. I was like, I really don't know how to explain a lot of shit that happens in this movie because it is so dark and dreary and dreadful that you just kind of sit there and I feel like a depressed state throughout this movie. It was very hard for me to take notes. That's why I'm starting to like throw in a lot of puns like a soulless ginger who fucks a sock monkey.
I just say you feel, I feel very uncomfortable energy coming
Like
from.
I'm
He's like
trying to
dropping
like bring up my mood watching this because it is very tough.
very
And
tough. All right,
a
keep
lot a
going.
lot of this stuff hackstab slash I describe as like even some filler scenes on the in between you can't help but focus on Lucas. He's very clearly like not either right in the head or not right at home or there's something going on because when he does get home We see something's locked in his closet. And I'm like, did this kid just feed whatever's locked in this room the fucking skunk? And then it shows him laying in bed, and it's even more of like, there's something wrong with this kid because he's aggressively cutting off the head of his sock monkey. This sock monkey did nothing wrong. Why? This poor sock monkey.
Justice for the sock monkey.
I know, right? Hashtag free the monkey. We meet Paul, and he's the town sheriff, and he's living with his sister Julia, who's staying with him temporarily until she gets her footing because she's finally come home. So, this is like a nice way for us to get invested into other characters in this movie. We see Paul is getting ready to go evict another family, and he feels like absolute crap about it, which makes you feel good because then he's just not some dickhead cop.
Yeah, no, he's definitely Paul's a good guy.
We see Julia's, a caring teacher. And then right when you start investing in these two characters, we go right back to Lucas, excuse me, who's telling like the cold porridge, three little bears story.
Yeah.
And he turns this into something fucking dark, ferocious, and twisted. And even like his little sketches that go along with it is very like, what's going on. All I see is heavy black scribbling with like red that is very clearly blood. And then after school, we see Clinton the bully. He gets, I think it's the skunk head stuffed into his backpack, or maybe it's the sock monkey's head with something in it, because they're all like, oh, this smells like shit. And when he pulls it out, he snaps and he kind of attacks Lucas and presses him up against the wall. And I did laugh when he gets the wad of shit or dead animal. And I'm like, good for Lucas for fucking stepping up and doing something a little too dark and twisted against this kid.
Yeah, right.
But then you immediately lose these feelings for Lucas because he goes to the school nurse and you see this kid has very clearly been beaten his whole life because he is covered in scars. And when he does get home, you see like a very sneak peek of what might be in this room. And it looks like a lichen from Underworld because it's like aggressive, it's almost hairless, it's trapped in this house, it's growling, it's making these grunting noises, and it almost looks like his skin has gone from white to like an ashy blue. And I don't know. I would never want to be in this house.
No, at
Not
all.
at all. And we
Hell
see
no.
Julia is starting to find her footing in this movie as a caring person because on Lucas's way home, she sees Lucas looking in the window of an ice cream shop. And let's be honest, dude, this kid looks like he hasn't eaten or showered in maybe a week.
Yeah, he needs to eat.
Yeah. And she brings him into this ice cream shop and she buys him ice cream and she makes him small talk. And Justin would be very pissed off because she refers to ice cream as a vegetable and donuts as a fruit because that's what she wants them to be. And during this small talk at some point, she must like trigger something in Lucas because he stands up and he's like, yo, we're good. Don't follow me home. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
he
oh, that's
abruptly
the weapons
leaves.
tie-in right there. He just wants nothing to do with her. He tells his teacher to go fuck herself.
Yep, peace.
And and on Lucas's way home, when you're starting to feel again for this kid, we see he's wandered into a junkyard and he finds a dead raccoon. Justin,
I,
these are the first signs to trigger red flags of a fucking serial killer in the making. They always start with small animals.
I literally wrote, is he bagging up roadkill right now? What the shit am I watching?
Like, unless his profession is taxidermy and he was just itching to fucking do something at home with that skunk, like,
Right?
this is what serial killers start with. They start with torturing small animals.
Oh, yeah, no, this is messed up. And then, like you said, like you see all of a sudden Julia, I mean, she does kind of, she's following him and she visits the house and we don't really see what the hell's going on because she's like, the house, first of all, looks like no one lives there. It is dark. This is the most dreary vibe movie I've ever seen. And you hear growling inside. I literally wrote, monster, what the shit am I even, what is happening? Because you see something from the door banging and dude, smart move because she does not go in. She hears the sounds and she does not go in. And then, like I said, we have a few more scenes, some filler scenes between Julia and her brother, just to try to make you feel for the character more. We find
That was
out
a
that
great jump scare, though. Like to transition back to them too when she's at the kitchen table.
Oh
That
yes,
that, that got me.
no, it got me too because I literally was like, I was very tense, like is she's gonna go in or not, and then boom, it switches up, and we find out she left her brother, and she's trying to make it right again. She's also staring at a very creepy picture that Lucas drew. These things are clearly not right at all. And then we switch right, like we're going back and forth a little bit. We see Lucas again, and we see that he is feeding his dad and brother that are locked in there like wild friggin' animals. He is sliding the bowl of into the locked room. I mean, dude, I don't know. This is
It did. On the plus side, it does look like Lucas gives his little brother takeout. Like it looks like he's munching on French fries, and his dad's the one eating the fucking raccoon.
yes. I was gonna say that it shows the dad eats like animal, and it does look like there is food he actually gives to his little brother. And I don't know, man. This
Hey
made me just
Justin,
feel.
I got a question for you.
What do you got?
Based off the last podcast, do you think he gives them any form of condiments? Like ketchup has to make the skunk taste better, right?
Honestly, I don't even know if I can go on a condiment rant right now. It's so disgusting. I don't know. I don't even know if ketchup can
Like,
save
do
a
you think he
skunk.
sends in like salt and pepper and stuff?
I would
Like
hope you gotta,
seasons it?
dude. I
Do you
mean,
think he makes it into like some kind of like roadkill stew?
you gotta season it a little bit, I would think. But then again, this dad, man, he's not looking right in the head. And my note so far is, all right, I'm 33 minutes into this movie, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of hate this right now. But
Yeah,
that's
this
just,
next Freddy Krueger reminiscent fucking daddy scene is just as bad.
yeah.
Ugh,
So
ugh.
and then like I said, she's asking the sheriff. We go back and we see Julia. She's asking the sheriff, her brother, about basically Lucas' dad and everything, and he's like, "Whoa, you say that guy is a drug addict? He makes meth. You know how many run-ins I've had with this guy? A million run-ins. It's just one of those things." And she's like, "How come you
And
can't lock?"
yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah, go
She
ahead.
asked the question every single human has ever asked in their life. I'm talking real life hack stab slash. When you have run ins with these types of people who have a rap sheet 25 miles long,
Yeah, they're always out.
why aren't they in jail?
They're always out. And he
Always.
just basically
Oh,
talks about
yeah.
like the
We,
whole.
we got him 25 times, but it was only 3 days out of whack.
Yeah, and like I said, it's always the court system bullshit. Just it just is ridiculous. And then you see a scene. Well, you see Julia basically showing the principal now. She's like, "Hey," showing the Lucas the drawing, and the principal says, "I know, like, there's a lot going on." And she basically does mention how like the town has meth issues, so you realize this town kind of sucks.
Dude,
And
she
Julia,
basically says, "Hey, I'm not going to do nothing because at least this kid comes to school because the rest of the kids don't come to school because
yeah,
the parents don't want us to smell the methamphetamine stuck
yeah,
to their clothes."
and she
What
mentions
the
how.
fuck kind of answer is that,
Uh,
lady?
Dude, there was all the red flags in the world. I'm gonna throw another, and she basically does mention how like he has a brother, Aiden, how Aiden doesn't even come to school,
Yeah, Ada
and
must be old enough to reach the cooking table, so he
yeah,
doesn't come to school
this
anymore.
is all big red flag thing. And then Julia does mention, well, yeah, well, there's more than this too because like he's clearly abused, and basically mentions like she would know, so you kind of get some backstory to that. Like you kind of realizing like Julia's been through the shit too, and she's the only one that freaking cares. Like hello, and then we
My
see,
thought process about this
yeah, go
movie
ahead.
so far, just real quick, is I was like, this place looks like a beautiful small mountain town in Oregon, and I'm in love with the aesthetics of this place. And instead, it's poor. The education system sucks. It's full of meth labs and dead bodies in the woods. And then I was like, I guess every fucking town has its dark side, right, Justin?
Yeah, yeah, this is not a feel good fun movie right now. This is insane. And we see Lucas is in the woods now, and it looks like he's setting a trap. I imagine to catch more, animals and stuff. But also we see there is a hunter in the background. And it turns out what he finds is we see him talking to the cops and everything. He finds a part of a man in the woods and see the cops and everyone talking. Apparently, the other half of this man was in the damn meth lab earlier. And so, holy crap. And we do see clips of the dad looking worse and worse. And this one really kills me because you see side close up and you see him with Aiden. And I'm pretty sure Aiden says like, "Is God dead?" And
Yeah.
I'm dead. This is and they feed him again, and there is coughing, ooze. I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm like, what the hell is happening? This scene was disgusting. This guy is clearly morphing into something with his poor son trapped in there too. So I imagine his son must be some kind of sick too, or he's just I don't even know what's going on. And then we see the coroner from the body they found in the woods. Dude, the coroner is like, and the corpse is absolutely mangled. I don't even know what I'm looking at. And he's like, I've never seen anything like this. And they're like, there's bites on it too and everything. They're like, yeah, well, yeah, obviously the wildlife got it. He's like, no, there's
No,
like human bites on
dude,
this.
this is so fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, just
And then right after that, dude, we do see Booth. Her name is Ellen Booth. I refer to her
mhm.
as Booth a few times. She's the principal from earlier. She does her duty. And
Finally.
hats off to this lady because she does go to Lucas's house to
Yep.
talk to her dad like she said she would.
Redeems herself.
She goes a bit too far into this house though, and
Oh,
she unlocks a door that I would have definitely called the police to unlock. And in doing so, um,
oh,
this thing that is the dad, uh, he eats her. He like rips out her jugular, he tears her to shreds, and then he starts transforming via his mouth hole
yeah.
into
Oh,
something absolutely nasty. It looks like just antlers. That's what it is, but it looks like it's just protruding out of his
his
mouth at
mouth.
like a nasty fast pace. And then we transition back to Lucas, who's still in school and he's on his way home, and he gets jumped by the bully Clint, and this monster shows up, and you don't get a real good look at it, but you can tell that this thing is huge, it's fast, and it is vicious. And this thing, holy crap, does it shred Clint to
Dude.
absolute pieces. I'm like, this dad has clearly evolved into something dark after feeding on Miss Booth. And I was like, I wonder if he feeds every human he feeds on, maybe he evolves into something worse.
So I was kind of thinking too, I'm like, is he like the more he eats or something? Like, what is happening here?
But shortly after this, we find out Mr. Booth, Ellen's husband, calls in a missing persons report of his wife. Paul and his deputy then decide to go to Lucas's house to snoop around, but without any cause for a warrant, the best they can do is just knock on the door and kind of wait for someone to answer. I mean, just cause would be the fact that this man has a rap sheet 45 miles long. There is a missing person, a boy who doesn't go to school, another boy who has been tattered and torn, and oh, I don't know,
I
Mrs. Booth's car fucking sitting right there in the driveway.
I was
I
like,
mean,
can there be any
granted,
more
it's
red
under a
flags?
tarp, but you can still walk around a little bit on the property.
My God.
So fucking obviously, do they leave because no one answers the door, and that's where the police work ends. So Julia does some investigation work of her own, and guess what she finds like right off the rip? Ellen's car. Duh. She has. She just looks over and goes, "Hey, I wonder what's underneath that tarp that I parked right next to."
Mm-hmm.
This then gives the cops probable cause, and they find an absolutely devoured Ellen in the attic and a
Oh my God,
Frank who
dude.
is burnt and actually looks like a cocoon. And I loved the way Frank looks because it looks like he's split right up the middle, almost like a caterpillar that was in its cocoon, crawling out of it. I thought that was pretty cool.
No, I seriously, I wrote, holy shit, there is a burnt person, and I'm like, did something burst out? I'm like, what is that like a person shedding their old skin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ow, man. There's some gnarly effects in this movie.
But now that Frank's out about and on the prowl, I got the only plus size of this cop finding all of this is Lucas does eventually get hospitalized, and we find out this kid is very malnourished, very dehydrated. He's suffering from like some heavy psychological shit, and I get it. And now Julia does feel the need to help Lucas any way that she can, even though her brother's trying to talk her out of it. They have a little fight between the two of them over her projecting what her childhood was like on Lucas, and that's why she's trying to save him. Honestly, if this was any other setting than a completely meth riddled town, I would say the teacher needs to stay out of it and let like an aunt or an uncle or a cousin or someone
Right.
come in and keep this in the family. But where this kid very clearly has no one, and she
Totally
sees
has
the way this
nobody.
town treats everyone that is involved in this drug trade, I get why she feels the need to step up.
Hmm.
But we do get a flashback, or we enter some form of maybe like a dream, because it looks like Lucas is sleeping when this happens.
Yeah.
And all I can say is, even as shitty of a dad Frank was, at least this dude is trying to isolate himself from
Yeah,
his
this is
kids while
important.
this is going on. So on a scale of like 1 to 100 in dad points, this dude's got like a 0.5 on the plus side right now.
Yeah, I felt like these scenes was so important right here, just showing this. And then when he shows,
Yeah,
I'll let you keep talking about when he shows when he ends up putting Aiden in there too. Like, oh man, oh
but and then after we see all this shit, Paul and Julia then visit Warren, and Warren lets them know pretty much what's going on. And he's like, bro, he's like, this shit's a wendigo. And it turns out that Warren is the old town sheriff. Um, he looks like he does have some native blood in him,
yeah, I
so
thought
he
so
knows
too.
these types of like backgrounds, and he informs them, kind of tells them, why it's here, how it got here, maybe how to kill it. And Justin's probably pitching a tent right now in his pants because we do find out that a wendigo is a cryptid.
I
And
got so excited. I
I
was
was
like,
like,
oh my
Justin's
God.
so happy.
I was like, did I pick a cryptid movie? I was so excited because I did not know what the hell this movie was about.
But after they leave Warren's, Paul does get a call to a scene for a body on the tracks. And they find Clint the bully, and he is in literal pieces everywhere. Like this beast just used him to make some form of American chop suey. And Paul's only reaction to the way this body looks is he's like, please tell me this was a train. And you can tell everyone just kind of looks at him and they're like, nope, sorry, buddy. This was not a train. This was something way worse. This kid, Lucas, I feel again, I'm starting to feel bad for him because now we know what's going on, why he was doing what he's doing. I've got this kid is just going to need one massive therapy bill when this is all over
Oh, for
because
real.
Julia decides, hey, he's been in here for what, 38 minutes? Now's a good
Hmm.
time to take him home from the hospital and then tell him about his dad being dead. And he says, no, my dad's not dead. My old dad, the one that was mean, he's dead.
Dude.
My new dad, he's out there. And all I have to do is feed him and he'll love me. No, put him back in the hospital, please.
Yeah. I know when I saw this, I was like, dude, my heart is hurting. I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
And it's such a pure love that only a kid can have, too. Like, I'm okay with doing all this wrong stuff as long as my dad loves me. And it means I
Yeah.
can be with him and my brother Aiden in the mines.
Dude, he's
Like, it
literally
is
like
pure,
right.
it is genuine. I mean, granted, like the things he has to do to like help support his dad are dark and vile, but he's okay with doing it because all he wants is the love from his family.
Oh, it crushes me. And like, yeah, like you said, he's like, oh, my dad's with Aiden. Hell, I just have to feed him. And as he says this, you hear like screams in the background. And he's like, oh, he'll come for me. And then he's like, oh, he's here. And I'm like, holy shit. And she right away calls Paul. And the assistant, the deputy, whatever he is, he's out there too. They have a cop outside of the house. And all of a sudden, I mean, he's patrolling the yard. He's doing a good job, but he hears the screams and everything. So he's like, oh shit. So this guy calls Paul. He's like, yo, I think this thing's in the shed. You better hurry up and get over here. So we do see Paul is flying there,
I'm
and he
sorry,
goes
dude,
into,
but right there, I'm waiting at the shed.
I
I'm
am,
not opening a door without backup. I've
and there's
seen what this thing can do.
100%. That's what I yelled too. I'm like, call every backup. What are you talking about? There's family
Also, his
members.
name is Deputy Dan, and in my head, all I kept hearing was like Paul going, Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah. Yeah, so Lieutenant Dan here definitely made a mistake. He 100%, like you said, call the whole entire town. Call the National Guard. Call the friggin' army. Call every single thing you can. But no, he goes in there and he looks in the shed and right away we see like Aiden pops out of the little thing. And dude, Aiden does not look good. Oh my God. And before you even realize what the hell is happening, Deputy Dan is stabbed by antlers from behind, like just like antlers sticking out of him. And this thing is absolutely big. Holy shit. Um,
I need some comic relief right here because this man is named Deputy Dan, which sounds like Lieutenant Dan. Aiden is laying on his stomach. The only food scene we get in this movie is his brother at an ice cream shop. I would have shit my pants if Aiden had pulled out a vanilla ice cream and
dude,
cone and looked at him and went, Deputy Dan, you want some ice cream?
that would have been, like you said, we need
That would
something.
have just changed the whole mood of the movie. I needed
Be-
that, but it didn't
because
happen.
no, it did not happen. Because when Paul gets there too, he gets end up getting hip checked by this damn Wendigo. This Wendigo friggin' is watching hockey right now in the playoffs, and this thing friggin' hip checks him. Dude goes flying to the side, and then all of a sudden, dude is gored from behind, like burst through the friggin' wall. Gored. He does end up stabbing
Ain't
this
no
thing a
wall
few.
stopping me, bro.
This thing goes right through the Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid man bursts through it. He stabs it a few times, but he is knocked out. At this point, we see Lucas friggin' just run. He's inside. Lucas books it. He is gone. We see now Julia is outside too, and she runs over there and she finds Paul. She
Bro, I
moves.
swear to God, if they go 3 for 3 on antler kills at the shed, I'm gonna be so
I,
pissed for
I literally was like,
unoriginality.
I thought the same thing. I'm like, oh my God. Like now Julia is in the shed too. I'm like, oh my God. And she moves Paul and dude is messed up bad. This guy is not like I literally don't know if this guy's gonna live or not. And she's basically like, yeah, Lucas is gone and everything. And she's like, well, and they're like, to the mine. We got to go to the mine because that's where he's gonna go.
Such a
And
smart move. Let me bring my brother to the mines, further away from a hospital and civilization, who's currently bleeding out in my front seat.
yeah, so I wrote, holy shit, I have some questions about the scene because it's the same thing. Like, where is the help? And guess what? They get to the mine. She gets to the mine, like Sean just said, they are way out there.
And
And
fucking leaves him there.
yeah, she leaves him there, but then she calls for backup. There, you couldn't have, bro, you couldn't have called for
Call it in
backup
on your ride because you
earlier.
very clearly had to take a long ride. We get an ominous like above shot
Yeah.
of you driving. So if you need to drive there at top speed with the fucking lights on, I, second question, how did Lucas get there that fast? His little legs could did he ride his dad?
I figured that he must have
That
rode his
yeah.
dad. I figured there must have been like a road. That's so I did assume they must have rode
Do
the
you think
Wendigo
he
on the
like
back.
killed them in the shed and was like, "Hop on, kids, we're going mining."
I did assume that happened. And yes, odd strategy to
Those
wait till you
exact
get there to call
words.
the ambulance. And she heads into the mine. I'm not gonna lie, this is creepy as shit. She goes there, a few jump scares. She ends up finding the kids, and they're like, go back, go back. And I wrote, holy shit, this is creepy as fuck because we see the creature. We see the Wendigo, and it's got like skin face of like Frank's face
It's got
still.
Frank's face on there, and I was like, "Holy shit, this looks amazing."
Absolutely terrifying. Like, oh my God. And she shoots it a few times. She uses the flare. She ends up, there's a little bit of battle. She ends up shooting it, like stabs it over and over. And Lucas steps up and ends up helping her. And then she stabs it in the heart. And if you remember, I forget the guy you said, the old sheriff, he basically says
Warren,
like you gotta kill it in its weakened state. You basically have to like remove the heart. So you see her like ripping out the heart.
can we just
And
say that fucking Julia is killing this Wendigo like she's been hunting this shit for a decade with fucking Sam and Dean from Supernatural? Like she looks like a goddamn professional.
yeah, that's I had
She
questions
barely
about.
even got a scratch on her. This thing just wasted two fucking sheriffs with no issue. She took out two meth heads that were very clearly like panicked with guns inside of a mine shaft. She's taken out countless people. I
Yeah, I
don't
had
know.
some. No, I had trust me. I have a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts about all this shit. How this final battle played out. Um, she rips it out, but then I was like, oh fucking no, because you hear like a weird little sound and like another like scream, like a whimpering scream or something. And dude, this freaking oh man, I can't even say
This
this.
actually hurt to watch.
This hurt. No, this. I was. My wife was on the couch, but I was watching the movie with headphones on, and I was like, no, absolutely not. Because remember, Lucas and Aiden are there. You think you're gonna have the feel-good movie moment that you
I'm
did?
I'm like, bro, I am hoping that now that the dad is dead and he possibly infected Lucas, that it's one of those like if you kill the infectee, the
Yeah.
infected goes back to normal.
But unfortunately, we just watched folklore movies. We seen The Whistler, and we know how these kind of spirits work. It got passed to Aiden, the 7-year old who went through all this shit. And Aiden is just standing there, kind of like slowly transforming, and he is making the whimperingest scream ever. I can't even do this, man. She goes over to him and kind of like hugs Aiden with the knife in the hand, and she's like, Lucas, don't look, don't look. And poor Luke, oh man, Lucas is like,
Bro,
no,
I couldn't
no.
even look.
Yeah, Lucas is like, no, it's okay. He's just sick. He's okay. It's just sick. And you see, it cuts away from her. Luckily, you'll see it. She ends up having to stab Aiden to death and do the same thing to Aiden as you see Lucas like covering his ears. Like, my God, I just gutted, just disgusting. I hate it so much. And then we fast forward and we see Paul and Julia and Lucas all together at a waterfront. And they're kind of just like, oh man, like what are we gonna like this poor kid? Like how like we either gonna just get on with this. And then they turn around to go to the car. And then I'm like, oh my fucking God. You see Paul, he is coughing. And he's like, he's coughing and he coughs up the black ooze. And I'm like, oh my dear God, this dude has it now. The end. Sean, just talk about it. I am done.
All right. my actual final notes on this are shorter than they have been lately. And I've got this is a very well done movie. It's dark, it's cold, the dreary vibes are from start to finish. I actually felt raw rainy day vibes from start to finish watching this movie. The legend of the Wendigo is vast, it's deep. However, this is not my style of horror. If you like dark emotional torture, then this movie is for you. All right. Lucas reminded me of how cold the kid was from Let the Right One In. That movie made me feel kind of the same way this movie makes me feel. So, like, again, if that is your style, then this movie fucking slaps. However, if you're like me and you like it a little more campy, you like some sprinkles of humor, um, then you might agree you never want to watch this again. I'm giving this an even keeled 5.5. That sounds like a bad score, but I'm giving it a 5.5. Just know that this is not for me. It's not a horrible movie. Like I said, if you like dark, dreary, like emotional, that kind of horror, like Justin likes his POV from Gags the Clown and Found Footage, he likes that kind of horror. Like, if that style is for you, this movie, like I said, fucking slaps, but it's just not for me.
All right, very well said. So I just want to touch on the cloudy, misty, dark, insane, dreadful vibes. Tell
Dude,
me
they
those
fucking
vibes.
nail it.
Dude, they nail it. And it felt like that reminded me of like The Ring. When The Ring was shot, dude, that Ring movie makes you just feel so much like that. That reminded me of like how The Ring was shot so much. So I wrote, so that was dark. I'm not gonna lie, the first 40 minutes I hated this movie. I didn't even want to watch the ending of it. I hated it. But after that, I do must say, the ending, I have some issues with the ending, but the pacing issues of this movie was definitely there. But it went hard. I feel like the movie did redeem itself and it was a solid movie. It is bleak, it is dreadful. If you're into that kind of horror movie, it's fine. It had solid acting. I do kind of think the battle. All right, so I give this a 5.8. I honestly thought I was going to give it a 2, but I do think it's solid enough. But at the same time, I had some questions like the whole battle with the Wendigo. I thought, like, how did she just kill it so easy on the shit? I know it was a little weakened, but and every once in a while, look, all horror movies can't have fun and everything. You do need some, every once in a while, you need a little bit of a bleak one. I kind of never ever want to watch this again. Like I said, I did not know what kind of movie I was even watching going into this at all. I had no clue what I was watching. But yeah, 5.8. Like I said, I feel like in the beginning, they definitely suck you into like the bleakful vibes and everything, but I feel like they should have maybe a few more hints of what was going on would have been made a little more excited for me to get me more into the story. But yeah, 5.8, not really for me.
Yeah, like you said, dude, the way it sucks you into the bleakness, it's almost like it doesn't have to suck you in. It does a very good job, like the first, half of the movie of eliminating any emotional happiness you have, any emotional understanding you have, like any of the non-dark and bleak emotions. It has a very good way of just deleting those from your core for the remainder of this movie. So if you like
Oh
that
yeah.
shit, dude, this, like I said, this slaps. But
Yeah, and the
this
ending
is this
wrecked
is
me. Oh
this is
man.
not for me. Like it, you know where my head's at when I'm like, hey, when Deputy Dan gets killed, I instantly went, hey, this dude needs to pop up with an ice cream cone and go, you want some ice cream, Lieutenant Dan?
Yeah. Yeah, we went drug. Which I feel like the podcast needed one of
We
these
we need
bleak
that every
dread.
once in a
We
while.
needed every once in a while. We needed to just mix it up and watch something like this that we don't normally watch, just to keep
Yeah,
us more well-rounded. But
you can't have
damn.
too much fun with other fun movies without hitting the bleakness every once in a
You
while.
gotta hit the weakness every once in a while. And right away, so we got a log line, a tagline
A
of
log line.
"Pray it desires not you" is our
Well, when you get
tagline.
down with the bleakness,
Yeah,
we
right?
realize that this is a 5.9 on IMDb and a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, so that was like actually like right on line where we did. So I thought this was a really cool fact. This was actually filmed in the same location and town as First Blood, which I think
I
is
saw that. That was pretty badass.
badass.
This film is actually based on the story The Quiet Boy, written by Nick Antosha. If I'm saying that last name wrong, it's because we suck at pronouncing names here at Hackstab Slash. We can't even
We're the
pronounce our
worst.
own. Right, Justin
And
Beathers?
Right scene. Um, so anyway, that was my next fact, but I also just want to touch on that. Can you, I mean, we all know books are usually better than movies. Could you, that movie's probably, I mean, that book is probably scary as shit. Can you
Like
imagine
I
how
listen to a
dark?
lot of audiobooks like during my day at work because I really have nothing else to do, and I found that audiobooks are a different change of pace than podcasts and music. If this is on audio, I might buy it
Could you imagine how
because
scary
I
that book
feel
must
like
be?
this would be like fucking I think I'd pull over and cry.
That's what I mean. I think this book might be absolutely terrifying. If anyone is listening and has read this book, please let us know. All right, so my next thing, so I got this actually was filmed in 2018, but it did not get released until 2021.
Fuck COVID.
Yep.
The Subaru Outback, driven by Julia Meadows, aka Kerry Russell, has the registration plate 3MAR976. I read that like a robot.
I was gonna say, what was that?
Kerry Russell was actually born on the 23rd of March in 1976, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh shit, that
Um,
is cool.
yeah, just real quick. Uh, I don't remember her driving a Subaru Outback. I don't know if maybe I just blocked that out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't see a single car she was in.
I mean, I feel like there was only what one scene when you see her driving maybe to like the house, and that was like it. And I didn't really pay attention. It was so bleak, I didn't really pay attention to the car.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know.
so the only last thing I got is this ended up being a cryptid movie, which I usually love cryptid movies, but it was based on the Wendigo, which is a cannibalistic creature of the Native American folklore, specifically the Algonquin tribes.
I have something similar. I have, despite being a prominent feature of the creature design, as well as being the basis of the movie's title, traditional Wendigos do not have antlers. The depiction of the Wendigo having a deer like appearance with antlers is a recent trend in pop culture iterations of the monster. Traditionally, like Justin said, Wendigos are supposed to resemble emancipated corpse like humanoids, which is creepy in its own right. And then
100%.
my very last fun fact is the flag, it's actually a goof. The flag on the uniform that Paul wears is facing the wrong way.
Ooh.
Police uniforms have a flag with stars facing the rear, while military personnel have the flag with the stars facing forward.
All right.
And that is it, Hack Stab Slash. Until next week when we get goofy with it, I'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.